In ancient Mayan culture, traditional massages were believed to cure ailments ranging from intestinal issues to postpartum recovery. Today, in southeastern Mexico, Lucina Chaycanul is keeping these traditions alive as a way to empower her community.
This profession is disappearing. All the traditional healers have died, and there is so much demand. So many women come here and end up sharing so much about their lives with me.
Lucina is part of a larger network of indigenous women across Mexico, working out of community centers created specifically to address the needs of this vulnerable group. 70 different indigenous groups make up 15% of Mexico's population. Most of them live in poverty and lack the influence and resources to make decisions about their own communities.
We are Mayans. We speak our native language. We live in and understand our communities. Yet when the state makes decisions about programs or budgets, what we have proposed is not reflected in their plans.
As Mexico's presidential election draws near, both leading candidates have promised to reverse decades of neglect of indigenous groups. But many say they have heard such promises before. Indigenous communities have long been marginalized by successive Mexican governments, but activists and community leaders have little hope that's going to change with a new government, even if it is led by a woman. Instead, they say what's needed is greater indigenous representation across political and social life in the country. A role that beekeeper Lady Pech has been fulfilling for over a decade. When genetically modified crops threatened her livelihood and that of thousands of Mayan beekeepers, Pech built a coalition that eventually outlawed the planting of GM soybeans in the area. She has since become a leading defender of her ancestral land and customs.
As women, we shouldn't adhere to these political systems that have always been controlled by men and that aim to strengthen a system that has always dominated and marginalized and has never understood that there is other ways of life in the country.
As political campaigns play out in the big cities, in the remote communities of Campeche, indigenous women are calling for greater recognition of their needs. Yet they remain skeptical that their voices will be heard with a woman in power rather than a man. Galiano, Al Jazeera, Campeche, Mexico.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.